Hey everyone, I'm Keith Vitale. Welcome to Sidekick Podcast. In this special episode, I'm picking out another one of my favorite Bruce Lee fighting scenes. Now, it's the 50th anniversary of Bruce Lee's death, and I really wanted to do something special to honor the one person who had the greatest impact and inspired me the most in my entire martial arts career. Now, the classic scene that I'm picking out from all of his movies is the iconic dungeon fight scene from the movie called Enter the Dragon. Now, this is incredible. This elaborate fight scene is so incredible that I truly believe it inspired an entire generation of martial artists, of action stars, of especially stunt coordinators around the world. So, when this movie was first released, Enter the Dragons was released and premiered in theaters in 1973. Now, prior to this, my only exposure to martial arts on film and TV was a TV series called um, Kung Fu Theater. Now, it was comical. It was almost funny. These Chinese martial artists had pretty good technique, but most of the time they were flying over trees or doing fancy type of techniques, and it was fine. And I really enjoyed it. It was a good Saturday morning cartoon for me. But having to go see this movie and the buzz around this movie was my first exposure to a dramatic actor and really showcase some, phenomenal martial arts techniques. Now, to give you some kind of proper perspective, when I went to see this film, I was in a long line, not around the theater to get into this movie. I was in a long line around the block to get into the theater. Now, back then, of course, we didn't have cable or blockbusters or streaming. So if you wanted to see a top movie, you had to go to the local theater. And this one had a buzz, not just here in America, but all around the world. So everybody's really excited about going to see this film. So here's what inspired me the most, or my take on it, my observation on it. It wasn't only his phenomenal techniques. Now he had beautiful round side hook kicks, spinning kicks, great form, good speed, good power, and that really translated great on film. But he also had something else. He had this tremendous physique, built like Tarzan. It was just incredible. And then also he was a good looking Asian. So here we have this Asian that looks good, built like Tarzan, and has phenomenal technique. Now combine that with his personality, with his charisma, with his charm, just with his facial expressions and especially his sound effects. Now, I don't know anyone in my generation that didn't watch this film that didn't mimic his fighting techniques with sound effects. We all would go, he'd hold in place or do something that he would do because it was so unique. It was so different. As a matter of fact, let me tell you how popular this guy was. Now, imagine this. Imagine how popular, how famous Elvis Presley was, Muhammad Ali. Now, this guy, Bruce Lee, was just as famous as both of these personalities all over the world. Everybody knows Muhammad Ali. I don't care what continent you're from, you had heard of Muhammad Ali. The same is true for Elvis Presley. As a matter of fact, both Elvis Presley and Muhammad Ali both were inspired by and huge fans of Bruce Lee. So that goes, it shows you how popular this Bruce Lee was. So let's go now to starting the fight in the dungeon. Bruce Lee, his character is caught in the dungeon. He's trying to get some information, but he's been exposed. Now he's trying to get out. He's having to fight his way out. And as he fights his way out, a young Asian grabs him from behind and starts his fight. Now take a look at this and stop. Guess what? That's Jackie Chan. That's Jackie Chan's first exposure, one of his first movies ever as a young martial artist. And he was in a fight sequence with the great Bruce Lee. Now, I was fortunate enough to film and star with Jackie Chan in a movie called Wheels on Mills, as you can see the poster behind me. Now, it was wonderful because Jackie was at the stage of his career where he wanted always to work on his English and practice his English. So I had a lot of time to sit down and talk with him. And of course, one of the things I loved to talk about was his experience working with the great Bruce Lee. So I know I'm blessed, I'm fortunate, and just incredible opportunities that I've had in my life, just like that. So here we go. Look at this. Now, I want you to go back to this scene. So, Jackie Chan is attacking Bruce Lee. And here's the difference between Bruce Lee and I think what separated him from the rest of the martial artists. This is what made him so famous. Not only his technique, but it was his charisma, his persona, and how he told a story by his facial expressions. Now, watch how not to do it. And I want you to hold right here. I'm going to use me, my experience in a film, as an example of how not to do it. Now, don't get me wrong. This is one of my favorite fight sequences in all the movies I've ever done. Now, this is from Revenge of the Ninja. I'm starting with the great Sho Kosugi, the ninja, and he's in trouble. He's up in a high rise. And I've got to go in, and there's some bad guys in front of me. And I've got to get my way through and go save or help my good friend. So take a look at this.
We don't need the police. We don't need you. Coming in. We don't need
Well, it's not bad, is it? No, great technique. I'm pretty happy with it. Boom, boom, boom. I'm in, and I can go rescue my good friend. But guess what? There's no personality there. There's no charisma. There's no star being created by the way that was shot. That's just no difference than anybody else. I go in, I kick some fanny, and I'm up in the high rise. Now take a look. The difference with this take with Bruce Lee fighting Jackie Chan. Now, notice how the camera zooms in on Jackie's face. It doesn't do what we call a two shot, two people in it, or a full shot where you see the technique and Jackie hit the ground. No, they don't even care about that. As he grabs Jackie and breaks his neck, the camera zooms in on his face. The story's told through the intensity of his eyes and his facial expressions. Now, that is how you create a star. That's why he was a big personality all over the world, why he was just phenomenal all over the world. All right, so here we go. He goes over to the elevator, and I love the scene. Just the small nuances. He stops, he listens, and he brings and sucks the audience in with him. And as the audience creeps in with him, he's listening to see what's going on behind the elevator. But you get to see his back muscles now. And then you see him turn, and then you see him leave because now the elevator opens up, the thugs exit, and now he's got to fight all these different people. Now, great technique, great moves, great everything, right? He's Bruce Lee. But here's where we see the other side of Bruce Lee that we had never seen before. They were showcasing now his talent with weapons. And first, the bow. And take a look. Wonderful. Great movement, or just really good with the bow. And then he takes the bow, breaks it in half. He has sticks. Now, these sticks are what we call eskrima sticks. I was trained by Remy Priestess, professor, taught me how to use this. And but watch the master it. Watch his rhythm, watch his beat, and look how fast and rhythmical it is. It's almost like a dance as he's doing it. Man, it's just beautiful. And then now the last weapon he uses is called the nunchucks. Now, Bruce Lee made the nunchucks a household name and made it famous. Now, watch this. That's incredible. I mean, that one sequence using his nunchucks inspired generations of actors and martial artists in movies that would try to mimic and become Bruce Lee when they were doing it because he was the master at it. I thought that was just wonderful. I truly believe, now get this, I'm not even being sarcastic here. I believe 90 to 99% of all nunchuck sales in the world is due to Bruce Lee's, his dynamic scene in this dungeon scene in the movie called Enter the Dragon. Well, listen, I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I did. And if you did, please like it and share it. And of course, always subscribe. Until next time, ciao.